All right, there we go. I think there we go. Good morning. Lesson 86, another review. All right. Are you ready? Am I ready? I just put on my same clothes as I had yesterday. Hey, clean underwear, clean socks. What more do you want? Okay. Lesson 86. These ideas are for a review today. We're going to be reviewing 71, only God's plans for salvation will work, and 72, holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. And I just want to interject for my friends who are peeking in and they're not really comfortable with the God talk. Once again, here's how you remedy that. Think in your head, well, okay, I've never really said like God or, salvation, but replace the word God with source or love or the universe, okay? Because some of us hippies, light worker hippies, we weren't using the word God ever. We really weren't, because, we were doing a different spiritual path other than religion. And so, like, to hear it so churchy might make you say things like, what the hell? So if only God's plan for salvation will work, if you're like, I never said anything like, what about only Source's plan for salvation will work? Only Source's plan for returning to the light will work. All right, only the universe's plan for, hear my stomach growling, geez. Anyways, if not, just get over it. Get the fuck over it and study your lessons. Number 71, only God's plan for salvation will work. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. I have seen it in many people and in many things, but when I reached for it, it was not there. I was mistaken about where it is. I was mistaken about what it is. I will undertake no more idle seeking. Only God's plan for salvation will work, and I will rejoice because His plan can never fail. Yeah, even only Source's plan for inner peace will work. Don't get caught up in words, it's like, don't miss the point because you're being a turd about words. These are some suggested forms for applying this idea specifically. God's plan for salvation will save me from my perception of this. This is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. Yeah, so if you don't get something, what is this fuckery? What's going on here, right? You just hold up. Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. Or even just stop after light. Let me perceive this only in the light. What's the bigger plan here? Trust the plan. Quick cue. What's the plan here? Let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. There is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. All right, so anyways, that's lesson 71. And now we do 72. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. Yet only His plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of salvation from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. Specific applications for this idea might be in these forms. So some things you could say for this one is, I am choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this. If I see grounds for grievances in this, I will not see the grounds for my salvation. This calls for salvation, not attack. So none of these have been like really easy, even for me to roll off the tongue, you know, but, or to even think. This calls for salvation, not attack, right? Like that probably would never come into my mind, but this is part of the retraining process, you know, to undo a lot of the judgments that we've installed, that now it's time to uninstall them, because, you know, it's like you're choosing. The first one says, I am choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this. So do you want to keep on not seeing the truth, or the love, or the source? You know what I mean? Or are you ready to knock it off and come on over to the light, please? If I see grounds for grievances in this, I will not see the grounds for my salvation. So as we hold on them grievances, we're just holding out on salvation. All right, lesson 86. Bye.